What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Alternative Edge right here on the Tony Cotillo Show. I am Tony Jigsaw Cotillo. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. You know the deal. You know the drill. We started this a week or two ago. We're going strong, baby. We're going strong. I hope everybody had a fantastic Monday Night Football. I know we hit some things, we missed some things, and it's going to happen from time to time, right? But one thing is for sure uh again is that people are continuing to follow, and we're continuing to have great conversations and helping people, helping the community make good decisions. Now, for Monday night specifically, I want to bring everybody's attention to our AEVP, which is our alternative edge value play, which we talked about. And I tell you this all the time, it's one of those players that could possibly win you tickets. It possibly could win you your tournament. We had Alama Zacchaeus, and I kept saying over and over again that Zacchaeus was this guy that Ben Johnson was going to look at in the offense. And he came through. And to me, he came through in a big way. And the thing is, if you look at the target share, Zacchaeus had the second highest target share of the entire receiving corps. He had more than DJ Moore of the target share. Okay. It was Roma Dunze at 26.5%, and it was Zacchaeus at 20 and 20.6. He had 7 targets. Okay. As a $2,000 DFS option. He was 4 for 42. And if a couple balls were thrown a little more accurately, we could be sitting here at like a 6 for 85 night with no tutty, man. No touchdown dependent. That's $2,000. That's what you call an AEVP. And that is the alternative edge value play. I started these value plays years ago. It used to be called the FFVP, the fantasy football, or the fantasy firebox value play. And I started it in baseball. And I started basketball is hard because it's hard to find value because of the way with the injury reports and the blowouts. So I stick it to Major League Baseball and NFL. And NFL already has proved to be a nice hit. So we do like Zacchaeus. So we're going to get into, again, you see everything on the left right there. We are powered by BetQL, the great people of BetQL. I have a 15% off coupon code, some deals. I will start to list them in the descriptions. I'm still getting from Underdog and all that if you want to play along, which is fine. You don't, it's okay. No big deal. But I just want to at least throw it out there because they do have some fantastic information and some fantastic tools that I honestly am just getting used to. But what you're getting right now is insight just from my mind, my crazy mind, and what I'm thinking. My man Frank checking it. Look at Frank. What's up, Frank? He says, please listen to Tony, all facts. My man, I love it, Frank. I hope all is well. And Tyler is kicking ass at that Jersey stuff, man. I listen to him. He's the voiceover and man. I love it, man. It's like just like you do. I'm sure you like it, Frank. You and Mrs. Mirage are like it. I love to see the dude grow. It is fantastic. My man Adam checking in. What's up, Adam? He says, speaking of baseball, how about those red hot Phils? 10 games ahead, man. Listen, magic number is 7 right now, man. The Phils do what they do best, and that is win ball games. And I'm getting very, very excited. But speaking about winning ball games, we got a big Thursday night football matchup. Washington, Green Bay. A lot of different topics to get into when it comes to this game specifically. You see it on the left-hand corner. What we're going to do, like we've been doing, we're going to go through a single stat DK, okay, which is a contest to where you pick 3 guys, 3 players that are going to give you the most yards, the most points in that contest. That's what you're going to get. So you got to pick them. So we're going to throw that one out there. We're going to go the showdown DK, not the whole lineup. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my captain, who I'm thinking, and the ever popular AEVP, which is the value play. Then we'll go with some best bets, the anytime touchdown, SGP, and that jigsaw crazy parlay. And if there's signs some plus money props sprinkled in there as well. Yeah, Frank, listen, brother, listen. Tyler comes from great people, great family, great support system. The dude's driven, he's talented, and again, like I am always a cheerleader from beyond. I always am, man. I can't wait to like bring him on one to be like, look at this guy, look at this dude, man. I don't even know who this guy is now, right? I don't even know who this guy is, man. Nah, he's doing awesome, Frank. Yeah, it means the world, man. Seriously, I'm so happy for the kid. I really am. So let's get right into this and let me make sure. See, that's the problem. I am a one-man show here, a one-man producer. I'm getting yo, tweet this out, tweet this out. Like I'm a one-man show. So I am trying here, peeps. I am trying. Make sure, as always, you like and subscribe to the show. Again, like and subscribe to the channel here. This again is the alternative edge. This is brought to you by powered by BetQL. And again, it is on the Tony Cotillo show, part of the Tony Cotillo show. So again, we are here to try to make some money, man. We're here to try to hit some bets, and I think we've been doing a pretty damn good job so far. And I think we're even going to get better as we get more information because again, it's week one, right? It's week one. Week one is not an easy week. Like I've told people, you can only go by specific things. You can't go by everything. Oh, and don't forget to hop in the free Discord as well. I want to get that up there. I'm gonna put that in the chat because that's important because we got a bunch of people in there now, and I'm always in there asking questions, putting debates and dropping some picks in there. There'll be some promos in there for other things, but most of all, I want to treat it as a mailbag session because I've said this before. I said I don't want to live on social media. Okay, I really don't. I don't want to live on X. I don't want to live on Instagram. I don't want to live on TikTok. I get that, you need that from time to time to put things in perspective. But I'd rather just have a good conversation with people, man. Like just like I used to do on the radio, man. Let me get a good conversation. You are the people that make it happen. So make sure you get into the Discord. The link is right there. That is the free Discord. I will put that again. That is you know what? I messed up. Let me put it again. Free Discord so people know what it exactly is. And they're like, what the hell is this? And again, listen, people, I will say this too. Um, I do work. Everybody works besides doing this. So if I don't get back to you right away, I apologize. It's probably because I am working, but I will get back to you. I promise. So don't don't get all uptight and crazy, right? So free Discord right there. Click on that link, get in there. You'll get right into the betting and fantasy room where we have some conversations. As always, if you want anything more than that, you want specific bets, if you want stuff like that, talk to me. We'll figure it out. All right. So let's get right to the single stat DK. I'm gonna put this up on the screen. Okay. And this is who I'm going with, and this is why I'm going to tell you why I'm going with this. Number one, let's look at Green Bay. So, Green Bay, you talk about a logjam at the wide receiver position. Number one, Jordan Love, great game, put up points. That's the big thing, right? We already know there's no competition for Josh Jacobs from the running back perspective. He gets 87.5% of the snaps. Not a big deal, right? So we already knew that. It's the receiver room that's extremely crowded after Romeo Dobbs. Okay, you got Goldie, you got Wicks, you got you got Jalen Reed, you even got Malik Heath in there, right? And then you have the tight end and Tucker Craig. So a lot of this is you have to realize like Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs are obviously the guy. Golden's still learning the offense, even though he looks special. And when you have a head coach like Matt LaFleur who knows how to call offenses, he's going to get him involved extremely early. Okay. So you saw that. Now, is he going to go off right away? No. Right. So I'm looking at this. You're playing in Lambeau. It's Thursday night football. They're going to air it out a little bit. They're going to have to. Okay. Because Dan Quinn is always a defensive mastermind. He's gonna put a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. You'll see that impacting on some of my bets. But one thing for sure, Jordan Love is going to own one of these receivers. Okay, in that night, meaning it's going to be a go-to guy. And listen, I know it may be cliche, but I'm just going to go with the guy who has the highest target share, who had the most snaps. Okay, and for my money, the most talent and the most health, and that's Romeo Dobbs. we're going to go Romeo Dobbs. Okay. He only had 4 targets, but 2 catches for 68 yards. Okay. Even though he's listed as a wide receiver 2 or 3, just speaking on health and going low, I don't think there's anybody in the secondary for Washington, okay, that can hang with Romeo Dobbs. And I would say the same thing about Jaden Reed, but I just think he's hurt. And I'm not sold on Matthew Golden right now to just be that guy because I just don't think he has a grasp of the offense. So what I'm looking at is Dan Quinn putting a lot of pressure, and all this does is one Josh Jacobs blitz pickup. You give me one Josh Jacobs blitz pickup, and that's going to be gone for Romeo Dobbs. So that's why I like Romeo Dobbs in this game as one of my guys. Again, this is the top 3 guys that we say are going to score the most value in points and yards, right? So I'm going Romeo Dobbs. And then we're going to go right over to Washington. Let me just say that I don't think there's going to be a sophomore slump, right? Looking at this game coming in, that's all you heard about. You heard about the cliche of CJ Stroud last year is going to be Jaden Daniels of this year. And I never thought that. I just said, we'll see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Cliff Kingsbury is a hell of a play caller. I think we all know that. He did a lot of good things. You saw Zach Ertz get in the end zone. You saw Debo, big time game for him. He looks good. Like, I don't know what happened in 3 weeks, but 3 weeks ago, he looked slow and he looked a little out of shape. Now, all of a sudden, he looks toned down and he looks like he's ready to roll. And he had a hell of a game. And remember who they're scheming against on the other side. That Packers defense got a lot better with Micah Parsons. So with Micah Parsons coming in, whether he's going to be doing stunts, whether he's going to be coming in from the edge, whether he's going to be spying a little bit on some delayed blitzes, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, they're not going to have time to allow plays to develop, at least in the beginning. So what does that mean? When you don't have time to allow for plays to develop, it means you're going to have to go to guys that are going to be your hot reads, okay, or guys that can have a huge yak. I love Terry McLaurin. However, Terry McLaurin missed a lot, almost all of training camp. It is going to take Terry a little bit of time to get back in game shape. And again, I don't know if that's going to be a good enough reason to start him on a quick turnaround where you go from Sunday to Thursday. You have to take this in perspective, people. You have to think about it. It also alludes to the health of the Green Bay wide receivers. They still haven't had enough time to heal. They're not getting the normal extra time to heal when it comes to going Sunday to Sunday. So I will look at this and I say, number one, the hot reads and the volume, we're going to go Zach Ertz. Again, when you have a guy like Micah Parsons who's really going to double down on that edge, he's going to leave a little bit of a gap there. That gap's going to be taken up by 2 people, Zach Ertz and Debo Samuel. And I do think Debo will be utilized a little bit in a sweep game, in the wide receiver screen game. They're going to listen, you have to run those kind of plays in order to slow this blitz and this pressure down. So that just dives right in to Debo Samuel. So I look at them and I say, these are my 3 guys. These are who I'm rolling with. Single stat DK. This is who I'm rolling with. Again, we just need these 3 guys to be the highest point getters of the game. So that's, again, whether you do tournament, whether you do head-to-head, whether you do 50-50, completely up to you. Man, maybe you just want to throw $1 on it, and do a single entry 20 that gives you a top prize of $36. That's completely up to you, man. Like, I think the amount of money that people bet is so over the top. It's so overrated. I say this all the time. A win is a win, man. Like, literally, I don't give a shit what you win. A win is a win. Very, very simple. A loss is a loss, right? Everybody values their money differently. And I would never tell anybody how much or how little to put on a bet. Man, maybe you even do you do crowns. Maybe you want to throw all your crowns. It's completely up to you. Now, let's go to the captain and let's go to the AEVP. And you're going to see again, here's a common thread. Debo Samuel. I loved what Debo did in that game. I love the way they utilized him. First thing we were thinking of is how little or how often is he going to be used? Like, we just don't know, right? First year in the offense. But one thing we did know is, listen, let's be honest. Besides Debo and Terry. There's really nobody else. I'm not hitching a wagon to Noah Brown, right? So, but we also knew that Cliff Kingsbury was going to get very creative. Like this is definitely the Cliff Kingsbury kind of guy. So you look at the snap count; they're almost identical: 55 for Terry, 54 for Debo. But what I liked about Debo is he got 34.5. He got 34.5% of the target share. He was targeted early and often in the red zone, right outside of the red zone. And the only thing I didn't see a lot of was the wide receiver screens or the jet sweeps. And I think that's coming. I think that's coming this week, right? But he had 10 targets in this game, 7 for 77 and a touchdown. And it was a rushing touchdown, actually, which is crazy, right? But I think you'll see even more of that, right? You'll see more of those end arounds or even maybe him in the backfield at certain times. I think they're going to get more and more creative. And I think it all depends on the health and the stamina of Scary Terry. So soon as Scary Terry gets back to health and gets back to full speed, I think that Debo gets even more unleashed, which is crazy, right? From that different perspective. So I think this is a really good play. I like Debo a lot. And then again, we're gonna go AEVP. I love the Jeremy McNichols play. Okay. I really do. And hear me out on this. Okay. I just want you to hear me out on this. So why do I like the Jeremy McNichols play? Now, it's a crowded backfield. And I know everybody's going to jump in on Austin Eckler, right? I get it. Everybody's going to look at Bill. 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 You know the way Jigsaw works. My mind works in mysterious ways. Okay. And I look at things completely different. I can bore you with target share and snap count and targets and yards and defensive scheme. And I can bore you to death with that. If I want to do that, I can watch other networks and fall asleep. But what I can tell you right now, the way I look at this, go back to what I was telling you about the health factor. It is a short week. It is a short week. Short weeks do not bode well for veteran players. Short weeks do not bode well for veteran running backs. Okay. Just throwing it out there. You know where I'm going with this. So I know everybody wants to jump on the Austin Eckler wagon, right? I listen, I get it, right? You want to jump on the Austin Eckler wagon because he's the guy that's most formidable, right? And he's the guy that you trust the most. He had 6 attempts. 6, okay? 3 targets. That doesn't blow me away. Okay? That doesn't blow me away. And he's also 30 years old. Okay. Now, Jeremy McNichols is 29. He's only a year younger than him. Okay. But Jeremy Nichols has a lot less tread, a lot more tread on the tires. Okay. A lot less miles. Now, the big thing about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, or just call him Bill, the biggest thing about him is he got all the attempts, which were 10, but he only got 1 target. Now, when you talk about targets and you talk about, you know, Cliff Kingsbury doing different things on a short week, that always speaks to the RB2 or the gadget guy. There's always that tight end 3 or that special teams guy or that forgotten running back or that fullback, like the Kyle Juszczyk days, right? Where somebody goes off. And I'm not saying that Jeremy McNichols is going to give you a ton of points. All right. This is an AEVP. The guy only had 4 carries, but he had 4 carries for 25 yards. He averaged over 6 yards per carry. He didn't get any targets at all. Okay. This was an interesting game. However, looking at the way that this is going to play out, I am putting my chips, my AEVP chips, into Mr. McNichols. And the reason why I'm putting it into Mr. McNichols is because it's a short week. He's only $2,800. And again, when you get a guy that's 2,800, if he gives you 6 points, if he gives you 7, maybe if he gives you double digits, you're winning your contest. As long as you got the other guys right, you're winning. Okay. So that's why I love the AEVP. The AEVP will not, here's the best part, it will not lose you contests. Okay. It won't, but it will definitely win you contests. So that's why I like the AEVP. So That's where I'm going with Jerry McNichols. Now let's get to some best bets. Well, I'm going to try to keep this under 30 minutes. We're at 20 minutes exactly right now. You have any questions? Okay, hop in the chat. If not, hop in the free Discord. I'll be in there later. Check it out. I've already had some start sick questions, already had some lineup questions. And just so everybody knows, okay? And I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't want you to think I'm just some guy that just hopped on and started creating content. Been around for a long time. Been doing fantasy football for the better part of 15 plus years. I've had stops at VSiN. I've had stops I hosted on SiriusXM for 3 straight years. Sometimes 3 shows a week. I'm still on their host list for if they need somebody or maybe there's a new show. Okay. So I've been doing this for a very long time. I started out as a fantasy football writer. I just never been as out there on YouTube and these platforms as much. And I finally decided, you know what? It's time to dive in. So that's why we're at. So hop in the free Discord. I'll give you my ideas. I'll give you my opinions, and then we can go from there. So let's get right to some bets. Now, this is a 4-leg, 8-1 SGP. And a lot of these that you're going to look at are going to be based on what I was already talking about. So let's look at Romeo Doubs. Over 40.5 receiving yards. Remember what I said. My whole premise behind this bet, it can happen on one play. I just need an all-out blitz to be picked up by Josh Jacobs and to have Romeo Doubs running free and scoring a tutty. That's all I need. And I honestly, I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I'm telling you, I feel it. I want somebody, right? I want somebody to throw in Discord when they see that play, be like, yo, there it is. It's exact. And then I can cut this video and I can play it. Just like I did with Jahan Dotson. He is my Jahan Dotson, except I think he's going to be even better. Okay. So then we go Scary Terry. Now, I just talked about it's a short week. Okay. However, I still think that it's enough for him to get 1 to 2 more looks, which will equal 1 more catch. Which will give him 1 more over what he had last week, which will give us the over 4.5. So I like the Terry McLaurin play at over 4.5. This one I absolutely love. Give me the Josh Jacobs over 1.5 all day long. That's receiving, right? That's receptions. There's Josh Jacobs over 1.5. How many times have we seen Jordan Love under pressure in the past, dumping it off to Josh Jacobs? I think I remember a game specifically last year where Josh Jacobs had like 7 catches in the first half. It was like insane. All he kept doing was peppering them catches after catches. He only had 1 target last week. All I need is 1 more. I think this is a given, right? And it's high. Like the value for a single bet is not there. It's like minus 150. It's just not there. It's ridiculous. However, you add it in a parlay, you boost it with that 10 to 20%, and boom, you are sitting on house money. So I love that play. And then let's finish it up with the guy I talked about earlier, the ageless veteran, and Austin Eckler. Now, this is over 47.5. I know, listen, I told you about Jerry McNichols, right? He's the AEVP. He's only 2,800, right? So he doesn't need a lot to get to that point. This, I think, is something where you look at the Micah Parsons effect. I talked about hot reads. I talked about all that when we talked about Debo and Zach Ertz being in that single stat DK, right? But here, I'm talking about specifically those dump balls, those screens. And again, it's not going to be all McNichols. It's not going to be all Bill. It's not going to be all Eckler. It's going to be shared. But what I feel like in this perspective, I think you hop on this super, super early. Okay. I look at this as being super early because they're gonna have to gauge each other. It's going to be a chess match, right? You know, you have a great offensive play caller in Matt LaFleur against a brilliant defensive coordinator, play caller, I should say, in Dan Quinn, right? It's already there. Austin Eckler had 3 targets last week. 100% target to catch ratio. 3 targets for 3 catches for 31 yards. Basically 10 yards per carry or 10 yards per catch. Okay? He's at 47.5. Over 40. So we're banking on him to get about 50. I've seen some books even have him as high as 50. Okay? But all you need to do is look at last year, the way he opened up. his first two games were 52 and 47, right? He had another game of 47, 41, 89, 41. So he's there. The thing is, the games where he doesn't hit it, it was just bad yards per catch, right? It was just bad yards per catch. But I just think Green Bay is going to do as much as they can to pressure the young Jaden Daniels. It's going to leave those outside opportunities open. And Austin Eckler, like I said, Josh Jacobs, all I need is a Josh Jacobs block to get my Romeo Dobbs number. All I need from Austin Eckler is a Zach Ertz clear out, and Austin Eckler gets us on two catches. Okay, so I like this number a whole lot, man, a whole lot. I like I like your Bills you like my Bulls hat. Thank you. Like this is a present from my daughter, man. She knows the reason why I love it is I love North Carolina blue because Michael Jordan is my GOAT, and my daughter knows I love the Bulls. So she put two and two together, and Kersey and Mitchell and Ness, this is where I got, baby, which I absolutely love. Absolutely love. Now, who wants that Jigsaw Crazy parlay? Let's get to the Jigsaw Crazy ATD parlay. Okay, three guys, 22 to 1, right here. Three guys we've talked about. Three guys we've been in on. This is my no sweat. I use my no sweat token for this right here. And again, it's a no sweat, whether it's $5, $10, $20, $100, but whatever you want. But here's what I will say about the Jigsaw Crazy parlays. And I constantly tell people this. Like it already happened last week. How many times, like how many people played the Jigsaw Crazy parlays? Well, if you played them, you won. You're going to be like, we didn't hit any parlays. No, we missed two by one leg, which means we hit 6 single bets, which means we were way ahead of the game. So please take these ATDs, put them in a parlay, but also place the single bets so you can come out with a wash or at least come out ahead. That's how you continue to keep your bankroll. And then when you hit, you can build it. Okay, that's what you do. I've been doing this is the way I've been doing it. Listen, I am not going to bullshit you. I am not going to be sitting here saying I'm going to Vegas and I'm punching up tickets and I'm not going to give you pictures of these ridiculous screenshots. I will give, listen, we hit plenty of parlays last year. 33 to 1, 58 to 1. Okay, a lot last year. I got the tickets. Okay, I got the screenshots. People that follow me know. But you're not going to hit them every week. And that's the point. The point is get these bets attainable. Hit the single bets, right? Hit the single bets. My man Javon checking in says, I'm locking this in. Let's go, Jigsaw Crazy. I had listen, he had Romeo Dobbs for an anytime touchdown last week. So I know me and Javon are on the same page, right? When it comes to that. I know me and Javon are on the same page when it comes to that. And again, it's kind of like anything can happen, right? We know that. So what you have to do is you have to really look at this realistically and think it's different scenarios that can happen. And I already talked about the McLaurin action. I already talked about the Eckler action. And I've already talked about the Romeo Dobbs action. Again, Romeo Dobbs, I'm telling you, please, somebody send it to me. I have ESP right now in my head that I can see Josh Jacobs get behind center, hitting a blitz pickup, and Romeo Dobbs running free past Lattimore down the field. Jordan Love hitting him for a 47-yard touchdown, man. For a 47-yard touchdown. My man Sean checking in. Says, how many years do you suggest on each leg as a single bet for tomorrow's game? So here's what I do, Sean. I've always said this to people. It all depends on what you want to get back, right? On what you want to get back. It all depends on what the parlay is. And what I mean by that is the ATD ones, if you want to cut back a little bit, right? Maybe you only put a half a unit because you're already in the plus money range, right? You're going to get an Eckler is like plus, what is he? Plus 280, I think, right? Romeo Dobbs might be plus 160. McLaurin might be plus 180, right? So I look at that and I'm like, okay. I'm like, maybe I put it, because it's already in the plus money range. You only put a half a unit on there, right? So you put the full unit on the parlay, a half a unit on the single bets, right? So at least you come out ahead or at least break even. Because it's very, very rare. I say this all very rare that you go 0 for 3, right? If you're in, sometimes it happens, right? But look at last week, Sean. Like, I don't know if you followed or you tell last week, but I had 2 parlays that I was really hot on for Sunday, and we went 3 of 4 on both, 2 and 3 on one, and 3 or 4 on the other. Okay, and because of that, because of those, they were different though. They weren't anytime touchdowns. So I had a full unit on each of those single bets. And that's because, again, when you're talking minus 115, you're talking on the other side of the spectrum, minus 120, minus 130, half a unit's not going to get you much back, right? So, you got to go all in a little bit with the full unit. So that's what I do. So for this one, based on whatever your bankroll is, like for me specifically, if I'm sitting with a healthy bankroll, then I'm putting a full unit on each one of these ATDs. Because to me, I'm saying to myself, I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling really confident in 2 out of these 3. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm feeling really confident with McLaurin and Dobbs. I am. Because I do. I just feel it. So, so Eckler could be the wild card to get in the end zone because you just never know, right? With the running back carousel there. Who's going to get that rock? That's why I bet the over 47.5 receiving. But again, on this one, in an ATD, maybe not, right? Maybe not. So that's where you have to beg, or you have to look at it specifically. Sean says I view it the same way. Yeah, listen, that's the way I've been doing it, and it's been working out, right? It's been working out, and it's very simple math. It's an easy concept. I've had a lot of people, and again, I'm not the only one that talks about this, right? But I do think I don't want to insult anybody because I'm not. I do not tend to say I am an OG professional capper, right? To me, professional cappers are people that are betting like thousands of dollars, that are going to Vegas, that are cashing tickets, depositing money. I'm not that guy. I'm not. However, I'm very confident in me being able to dumb it down a little bit to put it on put a good viewpoint on it and help people, and as well as help myself. And I've had a couple people like, man, you know what? I start following these back, and they're starting to work. Now, people may laugh at us, because we're only betting, half a unit, 1 unit on these single bets based on the parlay, but I don't really care. That's what you're comfortable with. That's what you're comfortable with. Doesn't matter. A win is a win, right? A win is a win. So, Sean, as always, thanks for hanging with me, brother. I appreciate it. Hopefully, we could get some good cash and tickets to the good screenshots here in the Jigsaw Society when it comes to Thursday Night Football. All right, well, there you have it. There is, again, you get the single stat DK, you get the standard, the showdown DK, which is going to give you the captain, and the AEVP, which is the alternative edge value play, which I absolutely love. You get the plus money props for the ATDs. You get the best bets, the 2 SGPs, and the Jigsaw Crazy Parlay at 22-1. There we have it. Thursday Night Football Fantasy Value. So again, hop in, like, subscribe, please. You help me out immensely. I greatly appreciate it. Go give BetQL a follow. Check them out. I'm going to have some information about them in the coming days. My man Japan checking in. Great hit, Japan, on Caleb Williams rushing. And again, they have optimizers at RotoQL, which is, I'm just starting to learn it from a DFS perspective. So I'll have that available. I have a 15% off discount code, which is pretty interesting. I'm getting to learn that. We're going to start doing some underdog streams, and I get it. I want to get back into it because that's what I used to do. Okay, that's what I used to do. So I'm going to take that, man. Listen, this guy. Go puke. You trade Pickens for AJ Brown. Go puke. Or Kyle, are you saying, do you trade Pickens for AJ Brown? Like, are you telling me to go puke? I'm curious. I don't know. Are you already? Somebody's already telling me to go puke. I don't know what that's about. But I kind of think it says, do you trade Pickens for AJ Brown? No. Or I mean, wait, no, yes. You mean you're trading Pickens to get AJ Brown? Oh, abso-friggin-lutely. LOL trade. Yeah. Yo, Kyle, what's up with the go puke? Yes, I would trade. Listen, you're trading when people ask these questions. You know, I'm gonna say this. I just talked to this about my son, right? Because he was beating himself up, and he was like, "Dad, I can't believe I passed on." I drafted T Higgins, um, and he says, "I have no idea." Hey, sometimes autocorrect gets us all, brother. It gets us all. I'm trying to think of who the Garrett. He says I took T Higgins over Garrett Wilson. So I said, "Why?" And he said to me, "Well, because Garrett Wilson, I was afraid." And I said, "Look, Kyle, this is going to pertain to what you're asking me." I said, "For me personally, I always do everything by a tier chart. And all I need to ask you, Kyle, is who was a wide receiver one and who was not. I don't look at this week. Don't look at this week because if that's the case, you'll be out on Jamar Chase too. Okay. AJ Brown is a wide receiver one. He is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. George Pickens is not a wide receiver one. George Pickens is a wide receiver two. And if he turns into the prima donna that we know he is, if he starts taking plays off, and when you play for a coach like Brian Schottenheimer, it's going to get you in a doghouse really, really quickly. And so for me, I would 100%, if I'm getting if I have to trade George Pickens to get AJ Brown, I'm running to the bank with that trade. So absolutely good. Again, George Pickens will never be the wide receiver one if CD Lamb stays healthy. Never. So should I throw in a pick? I mean, it depends, right? It depends. It depends on what your situation is, what your roster is. You have to look at the other person's roster. You have to look at all that. You have to take it into perspective, man. Like seriously, like he's been saying he's been thinking about it. Well, let him think about it. Don't listen. I always say this. It's a cat and mouse game, right? It's who's gonna who's gonna bluff first. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and he's waiting. Maybe somebody throw something my way, right? Give him a day, see what he does, and then maybe then maybe throw him in a depth piece, right? Don't go picks already. Give him a depth piece. Look at like what is he weak on, right? What is he weak on? Listen, if you get AJ Brown and you already have a wide receiver one, that's a big deal. So for me, yes, I would definitely do the deal. So Kyle, let me know how you make out. I'm glad you weren't going to tell me to puke. I appreciate it because I actually feel okay. I don't feel sick, so I'm good. But thanks for the feedback, Kyle. Absolutely, man. If you're not liking and subscribing the channel, please do so. And again, make sure give me your feedback. Hop in the free Discord right there. Let me know how you make out, and let me know if you have any more questions. As always, everybody, I appreciate it. Continue to keep going and growing on your own bets and fantasy plays. Keep bringing the questions, keep bringing the engagement. I'm going to be here all season. Again, about 3 of these a week. You're going to get one for Thursday night football. You're going to get one for Monday night football, and Sunday night is for Monday night football, and then probably Tuesday is usually going to be like the recap. So again, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. Let's cash some tickets. Let's win together. Everybody, see you next time.